Have you ever had to babysit before? You have to go to a strange house. You may or may not know the family real well, so it may even be more creepy where you're in an unknown environment. You have to babysit children whom you may or may not be very familiar with. It's creepy in itself. What happens if you have to babysit kids you don't know really at all, and you're babysitting at a house that has a traumatic past? Well, you get Oracle. What's up, YouTube? Zero here. And today, I have a quick movie review of Oracle, which is streaming right now on HBO Max. Of course, check the date, because that can always change. In this video, I'm going to go through a brief synopsis of Oracle. Then I'm going to get into what I liked and what you may like about this movie, what I didn't like and what you may not like. Then at the end of the video, I'm going to say if you should check this movie out, and I give my final rating out of 10. If you do enjoy this video, feel free to give it a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button for more horror movie reviews and horror movie content. Without further ado, let's get into the synopsis of Oracle. Oracle follows a young woman who accepts a job on a property with a traumatic past. Upon her arrival, she soon realizes that the nightmares of her childhood are connected to the evil in the house. Pretty straightforward. A young woman accepts a job, which is a babysitting job. She has to babysit this house with a traumatic past, and of course, it's a horror movie. She's going to encounter something unusual about the house. So let's talk about what I enjoyed and what I didn't enjoy. First, let's talk about Ryan Destiny, who plays Shay. She's the main actress. You may have seen her in a TV show called Star. Of course, I've never watched Star. It's a musical. I'm not too into musicals. But that's where she's mainly known from. And she does a phenomenal job. She really carries the movie with her acting. The movie is revolving around her. Shay is the babysitter of this manor, and she does a fantastic job. Another name that you may know is Heather Graham. She plays the owner of this manor and the mother of the children that need to be babysat. While she isn't in a lot of the scenes, she does do a good job. You may know Heather Graham from a movie that just came out, Suitable Flesh. She's also in The Hangover and a great actress, been around a while. So those are the two main players in this movie, but really the movie's gonna focus around Ryan Destiny as Shay, and she does a phenomenal job. Horror movies, of course, we always want to know, well, is it creepy? Are there jump scares? If it's a slasher, are there a lot of deaths and blood, etc.? Well, this isn't a slasher. You can kind of tell from the synopsis that you're not going to get a ton of blood and guts, but what the movie does deliver on is creepiness. There is a lot of creepiness and creepy tones throughout the movie. There are times when you're just getting engrossed and you're wondering, wow, what's going to happen next? So that's great. As the story progresses, the creepy factor is there. There's enough where you're rooting for Shay to continue progressing and seeing what's going on, or where you're like, oh my god, get out of this house, etc. So that is fantastic as well. Of course, when you get that creepy factor, really in any horror movie, regardless of the type of horror movie, you want it to have that creepy factor, because that's kind of what we're looking for, unless it's a horror comedy. So that's there. The acting is great, as I mentioned. On top of that, something else that I liked is just the setting itself. The setting was great, and the story revolved around this setting, and they did a good job in terms of the setting itself, setting it up for the events of the movie. However, now we got to get into what I didn't like and what you may not like, and that's the story itself. It was uneven. Despite the fact that the setting was great and it set itself up well for a good story, the story itself was choppy at best and didn't really make sense. I don't actually understand why the title is Oracle to begin with. If you want a movie where the title actually makes sense, this doesn't. I don't know why it's called Oracle. On top of that, the synopsis that I just read to you, I'm reading off of IMDb. it actually doesn't make sense compared to how the story progressed and where it went. I don't want to spoil really anything, but the story at times just didn't make sense. While the setting was creepy and it did a good job as a horror movie itself, delivering that creepy factor in terms of you wanting the character to succeed, the story is just weird. I don't really understand how they get from point A, the beginning and the babysitting aspect, all the way to point D, which is the ending. I don't understand how they get in between, and they missed explaining some of the steps along the way. And that's where this movie really loses it for me, is that I just really didn't understand the story. Maybe I wasn't paying attention hard enough, which is kind of shocking to me because I was watching the whole movie. But that's the main aspect of this movie where it's lost, is just the story's uneven and a little, just you don't know why they didn't add a couple of background pieces that the movie probably needed. This movie probably could have used an extra 20 or 30 minutes to explain how they got from point A to point D. So ultimately, the ending didn't make sense and it wasn't great in terms of the story itself, because I just didn't get how they got from one point to another. So let's recap the pluses. The acting was great, the creepiness was there, and the setting itself was creepy and decent for what this movie could have been. However, what's a drawback is that the story was very choppy. It didn't necessarily all draw itself together. It could have used an extra 20 or 30 minutes to really explain how they got from point A to point D, and I still don't understand why the title is Oracle itself. Ultimately, this is a decent horror movie where if you can get over the story really missing some big pieces, the story or the movie has the creepiness factor that you want. So I do recommend checking it out. It's probably not a movie that I'm going to watch over and over again unless I really want to try and go back to understand what I missed. But it's decent to watch at least once, and I give this a 6 out of 10. But let me know in the comment section if you've seen it and what you think of it. Hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, peace.